principal partner at a major law firm, chief of staff to the Lagos State Governor, over 25 years of experience in Nigerian politics, and one of the founding members of the Social Democratic Party. Please be very, very warm and you're welcome to the podium right here at Cambridge Union to the Honourable Minister Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Minister of Education and Culture of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And Minister, you are most welcome. You're a media man and so am I, which is why I greet you so warm. I believe it's it, 20 years.
Yes, you are going to pardon my very cocky voice. I left Saudi Arabia yesterday to come to London and deal with the fluctuating weathers. I think that's why I lost my voice. I must first thank the organizers, the African Society of Cambridge University, for inviting me to speak on a theme which is very dear to all leaders of statesmen in Africa. But before then out, I will start with on the lighter note. I was introduced as the Minister of Information and Culture. Yes, it is true that I do combine information with culture. But you see, in those days, the Minister of Culture was considered to be the second, an inferior minister, in the sense that the only ministries Nigerians recognized were ministers of works, power, agriculture. These are ministries where contracts are awarded. You don't get to award contract in the Ministry of Culture. So my predecessor, he told me, he said, when he was nominated as a minister, he got a lot of messages from every part of Nigeria congratulating him on making the ministerial list. But when portfolios were shared and he was still the Minister of Culture, he received no call from anybody. But a very close friend of his came to him and said, look, exactly what did you do to offend Mr. President to have given you this portfolio? Thank you very much. This event brings us together today to celebrate the successes and opportunities in Africa. As we all know, popular depiction of Africa can be very dark. Poverty, violence, disease. These are some images that all of us here today are familiar with. Yet, so too we know how this obscures other variables. It must be success stories, the positive trends, the democratic gains that are evident if only you look closer. But perhaps, more importantly, it obscures the human potential and future possibilities that lie within these 54 nations. This is not to say there are no challenges. Rather, it is to realize that they should not limit us, nor our scope of ambition, for it is only a part of the picture. The continent has often been presented as a problem to solve, a web of issues that require untangle have a place of people, culture, and ingenuity. We face challenges, which government does not. But challenges also bring opportunities. One is the flip side of the other. So when I speak of opportunity, I do not speak of shocking one's eyes, I do not speak of shocking one's eyes to reality, but rather to see it clearly, fully, and indeed in a more optimistic manner. For it is what we do today as members of government, policymakers, civil society groups, citizens, members of the diaspora, and international partners that will change what we shall follow. This may seem obvious, but it is worth underlining. Because development does not fall from above. It is hard work. However, first of all, we must see properly the task ahead of us. One such challenge, opportunity, is demographic, the so-called youth bulge. Africa's population is expected to double by year 2050. By this time, a quarter of the global community will be Africans. Urbanization as a migratory flows increase from the countryside to city is also accelerating. To some, this is a ticking time bomb. What if there's no opportunity? What will our youth do if there are no jobs? Mobilize or destabilize? Two, in Africa, urbanization has not correlated with poverty reduction. It has in other regions. However, where some see rural clouds, I see a concentration of energy. The number of people reaching working age will be larger than the rest of the world combined by 2075, and they will be young. This great pool of vibrant and energetic labor has the potential to transform the continent's development. In fact, it could transform Africa into the major driver of global growth. If there is one country that is emblematic of this, it is perhaps Nigeria. Indeed, Nigeria will be the largest contributor to this surge. We shall move from being the 7th largest nation on earth to the 3rd largest nation on earth. And amongst the 10 largest nations on earth, Nigeria will be the fastest growing. So what does it mean? It means we must create jobs. It is that simple. Rather than fall prey to fatalist predictions, that is what we must do. I can only speak authoritatively for Nigeria. So I hope to share some of the success we have recorded so far. I will start with investing in people. Without a decent level of education, of the right skills, we cannot supply developing sectors with human capital they require. And with median age so low, comparative to other regions, we must focus our efforts on the youth. This means education for those not yet in the labor pool and skills training for those that are already there. I will start with education. Now, we can get into a debate about what good education is, or what will suit the shifting dynamics of the modern world. But let's start at the basic level. In my country, Nigeria, school enrollment is a challenge we face. One of the main culprits is malnutrition. Government therefore must step in. And in Nigeria, we have today 8,200,000 pupils are being fed daily, free, in 45,000 schools. Not only does this increase enrollment and provide children with or sometimes in some cases, very nutritious meal a day, it enhances learning efficacy in classes and boosts cognitive development over the long term. This is an investment we expect a delay before feeling an economic response. However, this program creates material benefits in the present and it also supports farmers with a ready market to sell into, giving them indications on how much to produce and when, engendering stability and assurance among our farmers. At the same time, we provide farmers with training in seeds and fertilizer, applying best standards to increase our food security. This program also provides jobs for over 87,000 workers. Provide jobs for those who transport the food at the same time. It's an investment which looks at the whole picture, looking at ways to do more with the money to reach as many people as possible. This is increasingly urgent given how stretched government resources across the continent have become. The days of bounty are over. We cannot expect a return to the high commodity prices that characterized the year 2000. Instead, we must act now by doing more with less and looking at investments that have manifold benefits. We must always ask ourselves, what are the indirect knock-off effects of this program? Secondly, skills shortage in the labor pool is another major challenge. Once again, our government must step in. We must look clearly at the issue. Where are the skills shortage? So where are the skills shortages? Where are the future gaps? We must identify priorities and pursue them. The era of stretched budgets allows for nothing less. For instance, under Nigeria's Empower program, which currently employs 200,000 youth and provides vocational training for 75,000, we are currently training 40,000 health extension workers to bolster the medical outreach in remote and disadvantaged communities. This provides jobs while fulfilling social needs. It's nothing new. Franklin Roosevelt laid down his new deal of America in the 1930s. But somewhere along the way, these valuable insights were lost in the flows of time, pushed aside by a singular focus on innovation and disruption. The next focus of our government has been the business environment. There's too much red tape across the continent. It makes it cumbersome for businesses, stifling innovation and job creation. Much of our programs are honed in on business reforms. Nigeria today has moved up 24 places in the World Bank ranking of ease of doing business index, putting it among the top 10 global reformers in the world. The two areas were prioritized as starting a business and access to credit. Firstly, in Nigeria, previously the business used to take months. Now it can be accomplished within 24 to 48 hours. Unwrapping the bureaucratic and streamlining processes encourages an uptick in new official enterprises. For whilst businesses still face a burdensome regulatory environment across the continent, registering in the formal economy holds many benefits. Perhaps, most importantly, it allows companies to access legal and financial services that formal recognition confers on companies. Therefore, simplifying the registration process will result in more new companies giving support to business growth and job creation. So, how does this translate to government action? In the Nigerian case, we have introduced online registration with features such as the electronic stamping of documents. Not only is this cheaper, but more convenient, and to ensure this brings with it the maximum benefit, micro, small, and medium enterprise schemes have been deployed across a variety of states to provide regulators as contact point with informal businesses and budding entrepreneurs to clarify any issues. Secondly, in Africa, the major obstacle to scaling up business, especially for medium, small enterprises, is access to credit. How this impacts job creation is obvious to state. Today in Nigeria, we've made it possible for micro, small, and medium enterprises to register their innumerable assets, such as vehicles and equipment, and use them as collaterals to raise loans and finance. This removes the need for traditional and all these expensive assets, such as real estate, offices, and factories. This will allow many of those smaller companies to put capital behind their ambition and begin developing their future. What these business reforms also amount to is widening tax revenue base. By bringing more into the formal economy, we widen our tax base. Tax to GDP ratio across the continent remains very low. We must deepen it. For the sustainability of our future growth depends on it. When governments depend too heavily on the natural wealth to fund the government costs, it leaves them open to the vicissitudes of global fluctuations. In my country, Nigeria, we know this all too well. Since 2016, this administration has added 5 million taxpayers from 14 to 19 million to the tax base. This has resulted in a tax revenue increase of over 50%. This gives the nation a steadier inflow from which to plan. Infrastructure. for these enterprises to thrive. This administration has lowered the barriers. The two most critical things holding back business is decent transportation in the form of roads, railway network, and the reliable electricity supply. With better routes and train networks, we can move goods and services around more cheaply and more efficiently. It also provides access to regional and international markets. With reliable electricity supply, businesses can plan for the future, knowing they will not be hampered by energy outages. In our election campaigns across the country, transport and power come over and over again. Government must invest, and where they cannot, look to international investors to plug the shortfalls. For instance, our administration earmarks 30% of its annual national budget for capital expenditure. That means almost US $7.5 billion has gone towards our infrastructure, unprecedented in our history. Power generation has climbed to 7,000 megawatts from just over 2,500 megawatts in 2015, to which we hope to add another 2,000 megawatts by the end of the year. That's also laid down thousands of kilometers of roads. But when it came to our railway, we had to look to other solutions. Our rail network, whilst extensive at 3,500 kilometers of narrow gauge, has been neglected since it was established. Trains are delayed if they run at all. This gives the population little stability, let alone business. At the moment, it is not functioning as the engine of growth that they should be. We took the project to international businesses, and the government has now signed a concession agreement with an international consortium led by General Electric. This will breathe new life into the tracks, increasing capacity and speed. Not only will this allow for goods to move around cost effectively, it will also allow the prosperity of the nation to be more equitably spread through increased connectivity. Those far from the coast will be able to get their goods to the ports in the south. And building supplies and capital goods can be freighted around the nation. It will also allow for efficient movement of people, allocating labor where it is needed. At the same time, the government deepens our network through constructing a new standard gauge railway to run prior to the narrow gauge. Lagos to Kano has already, Lagos to Kano standard gauge has already commenced. Youth unemployment is a problem across African nations, and given the surge, we have to create jobs faster than we've ever done before. The scale of the task is great, but reform by reform, initiative by initiative, block by block, we begin to lay the grounds on which we can build. Momentum begins momentum. New connections are needed. Excitement and innovation begin to coagulate. However, we must remain focused. We must share our experiences to see what has worked for individual issues and see if they have applicability elsewhere. For solutions are sometimes not the same. However, some issues cut across the diversity of our countries. We must therefore eagerly share if we are preferred. Then we shall see more clearly opportunities that are present and those on tap across the continent. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. I see Ferry is coming up on the stage. Ferry, I think he must have something to say.
Because we are really running out of time now, and there is an event that wants to happen today. Actually, they asked us to evacuate this place before 6. So we reserved the dining room to be able to interact with the Honorable Minister, so we can ask our questions there, and before we go to the gala night. So if we can just reserve all our questions, and then we can ask him there, have a more deeper interaction with him there. Is that fine? So, on a closing note, we want to thank every one of you for coming to Africa Together 2018. It's been really, really great, and I hope you all enjoyed yourself. Thank you very much. Time will not allow me to mention everyone that has contributed. Thank you. I cannot mention everyone, but you know all yourself. The panelists, the committee members, our school leaders, everyone, thank you, and see you next year, actually. Yeah. And okay, sorry, there is the gala night, and if you have registered, you are